Man, it's the T-Train show. Y'all know what time it is, man. What up, T? What up? Hot Rod. What up? L-Train. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's the
Welcome to another edition of Three the Hard Way. We are back. Man, after a Sunday off, it was all on me. I had some obligations. The fellas were ready to go, but I had some obligations that I had to get done. But we're not missing this Sunday. We got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. But before we get into that, of course, I got to introduce my fellas. On the right of me is my guy, Mr. Hot Rod, the influencer, Rodney Young. What's going on, Hot Rod?
What is happening, L-Train Cap? What is going on? Three the Hard Way Nation, what's happening? Y'all know who this is. It's your friendly neighborhood coach. And like I always say, you may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen.
And the captain of our ship, Mr. Terrence Austin. We call him Cap. T, what's going on, man?
What's going on, everyone out there? Three the Hard Way Nation and fellas, what's happening? Let's go. Let's get this ship underway. Let's get it going. Let's go.
Hey, fellas, I think we got to start because this is March Madness time. We'll cover a lot of different stuff, but we got to start with the NCAA Tournament. I've been popping in and out of the NCAA Tournament trying to find games that I'm super interested in. Some of my favorite teams didn't make it this year, but nonetheless, the NCAA Tournament is the NCAA Tournament. March Madness is March Madness. Give me your on-the-surface thoughts about what you've seen so far in the NCAA Tournament.
Yeah, I'll be real quick. This is the first year in a while I haven't filled out a bracket.
I know.
It snuck up on me so fast. Yeah,
Woo.
snuck up on me so fast. But I've been watching more of the women than the men, okay? I've been watching more of the women. Yesterday, being here in Virginia, I was watching the Virginia Cavaliers. They beat Georgia in a good game, okay? I love seeing the women play, okay, because they go at it. They play tough. And then I think the first night I watched Howard get, demolished by South Carolina, but that was to be expected. But it's just good to see those young kids show up on that stage, okay? And then as far as the men, I've been kind of in and out watching them today. I got Kansas and St. John's on in front of me. But I tell you what, I got a team that I think may, win it all, okay? On the men's side. And I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to stick with the game that's on in front of me. I think St. John, because they're healthy.
Yeah,
they're healthy. Yeah, they're healthy. They're aggressive. They're well coached. So I wish I could go back and do my bracket. I'd put them in as the victors, but for right now, I'm gonna go with them. And then also too, an outside chance. I like Iowa State too. Okay.
Yep, good team.
They're they're an aggressive team. They play physical. X's and O's. They don't make many mistakes, so got to watch out for them too. So that's my take, so far, with the tournament. But again, I'm really, really loving the women's side of the bracket and what they're doing. That's what I'm loving.
Yeah, for me, it's so funny because the tournament comes on. I'm at my job or whatever, so I'm sneaking around, kind of, trying to watch as much as I
Watching
can.
out the corner of your eye.
Watching
out the corner of your eye.
Yeah, not getting myself caught up, but I followed. I saw Ohio State. Was rooting for Ohio State. I know Kent State. I believe Kent was in. And so I've been following it, but not really following it. And this is the first year that I haven't really done that. Normally, I'm sitting down, I'm in front of the TV, but maybe because I don't have a dog in the race most of the time, and it's always the blue bloods, the Carolinas, the Dukes, you know what I'm saying, but. From what I've seen, it's been pretty entertaining. Howard, they got beaten, but I like seeing black colleges make the tournament. This is the one thing about the tournament that I love is that now you're getting the not the major market teams. You're getting the HBCU teams that are qualifying for the tournament. I like that because you never know. You have a Cinderella coming out of one of those, small market teams. And so, I'll probably watch it to when it gets down to the Sweet 16 or the Final Four. I'll take a look at it. The women's side, these ladies are balling.
They play.
Okay. I have been incredibly impressed with the games that I've seen on the women's side. They have been extraordinarily competitive. Okay, it doesn't matter if you a blue blood or a small mark. It doesn't matter. These girls are balling. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Sweet 16 and the Final Fours. I'm gonna really get into it, but I can't be getting in trouble at work, y'all. I'll be sneaking around on iPads and looking on the TV. In the break room.
Yeah.
I can't be in the break room all day. But
you're not alone.
No, they've been really
alone.
entertaining.
Yeah.
They've been really entertaining.
Yeah, man, just some really, really good games on both sides. You look at the men's side of things, you're talking about the Texas Gonzaga game and the 11th seed versus the 3 seed. Clutch win by Texas. And really, when you look at the brand, Texas is a bigger brand than Gonzaga. Gonzaga came up, in the late, 2000s, late 1900s, 1999, where they really start to build their brand. And I know a lot of people don't look at this as an upset, but Texas really hasn't had a great year. Gonzaga has had a pretty good year, but it doesn't really look like on paper that that's a huge upset when it is. And then you had another game, Arkansas versus High Point. High Point beat the Wisconsin Badgers. And my guy, Greg Gard, the head coach of the Badgers, who I know pretty well, is on the hot seat because you look at his last 6 or 7 tournament appearances, either he didn't make the tournament or he's gone out in the field of 64 and the field of 32. So he's going to be on the hot seat. High Point goes and plays Arkansas. Arkansas and Calipari takes care of business. And then you got VCU, an 11 seed versus the blue blood North Carolina overtime upset. I know a lot of Tar Heel fans are really upset about that one.
Oh yeah.
Is it time for North Carolina to look for a new coach, fellas?
And that's going to come up in my APBs. Yeah, that's going to come up in my APBs. Yeah, so save that.
Okay,
Hubert Davis, I'm coming after you, Hubert Davis. I'm coming after you.
I'll back up off that.
Oh, yeah, I'll back that. And then on the
right.
women's side of the game, fellas, they really don't have the parity that the men's side of the game has, but that doesn't cause a lack of drama. You've got about 8 teams that are on a collision course with each other, like UCLA and UConn and LSU and Iowa, and just all of these schools that they're going to win in the early rounds because again, the women's game doesn't have the parity that the men's game has. But once it gets down to that Elite 8, fellas, in my opinion, that's when the women tournament really gets intriguing, man. It is going to be some good battle.
Yeah, it's a battle. And I watched LSU today with Flage, Johnson. And today, they were playing in her arena. And, she brought it today. She brought it on both ends of the court. And I kind of got concerned toward the end because they had, over a 40-point plus lead, and she was still in the game. And I said, get her off the floor. I know this is her last time playing in front of the home crowd on her home floor, but get her out of there before she gets hurt, But she really put on the show today. Excuse me. And like you say, L Train, I can't wait to see, them going forward. Because again, like I say, the girls bring it. They play below the rim. They shoot free throws. They dive for loose balls. They play defense. They give it their all, They give it their all.
Pre-show, we were talking about the young man from Kansas who was supposed to be the top player coming out in the draft and all this. What do you guys think about him? Is he a player that should be getting the kudos that he's getting? Do you feel like he's a little bit overrated?
Stephen A. said, don't touch him. Stephen A. said, don't touch him with a 10-foot pole. I haven't really seen him play much because he doesn't really play much, okay?
Yep.
He's always, you never, can say whether a person is hurt or not, okay? I get that. But there's always something with him, going forward. Now, he's playing today. And again, like I say, I'm not really impressed. He's got that NBA body. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. You can tell he's a baller. But again, like I say, from what I'm seeing right now, against a team that's just as competitive, again, there's not much there for me. And how he's the number 1 pick, I don't know. Truth be told, we'll see coming down the stretch. But this may be his last game, until the draft going forward. But I'm not really that impressed with him, not at all.
And for me, it's a short sample size for me. But everything that I've heard about this kid hasn't been positive. That's the unfortunate side of it is that through all reports, it has not been a positive spin. And so, a lot of guys got to understand, especially in college basketball, if your character comes in question, yeah, you'll still make the league, but the question is how long you going to be there.
That's right.
Exactly.
Because now you might be the biggest standout in college because you're playing against, guys that may not be up to your level. But then when you get to the pro game and you playing guys that are at your level and above your level, if you got a poor attitude, ain't nobody going to want to touch you. So, I'm hoping that he turns it around. From like I said, he seems to be a baller. Would I say he's the number one baller in the country? I'm going to hold off on that because I need to see a little bit more from him. If he's the number one hooper in the country, then I need to see him in the Final Four.
Yeah.
If
that's how, Yeah, and today, not to cut you off, Hot, he's just having an okay game, okay? He's just having an okay game today. Just an okay game. Nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I gotta see when you talking about number one players in college basketball, them guys get you to the at least to the Final Four. When you talk about a Kyrie Irving, a Shane Battier, when you talk about a Vince Carter and those kind of that
Hot Rod going old
when
school.
you talk about those guys,
Sidney Moncrief.
That's right. Those guys get you to at least the Final Four. So before I really crown him as the number one player in the country, I need to see what he's going to do in this tournament.
Yep, great point. Great point. On the women's side, fellas, have you guys had a chance to check out Audie Crooks for Iowa State? Like, have you watched this young lady play?
I've heard about her. Haven't seen her. Heard about her.
Oh,
yeah, I heard about her.
Fellas.
What are we missing, L Train? What are we missing on?
Fellas. Listen, man, you've got to YouTube this young lady. If you haven't really had a chance to put a microscope on her, you have got a YouTuber. She is an unbelievable cover. If I am a college coach that has to play Iowa State, like, you got to figure out how you're going to guard Audie Crooks, because she is so big, she is so powerful, she's got great feet, great hands, can finish at the basket. And fellas, when I talk about her feet, she has elite. This is coming from a women's basketball coach. She has elite feet, one of the best footwork fundamental players that I've ever seen. She is a go-to scorer, and you literally have to cover her with about 3 or 4 players. She's that strong, and she is that dominant.
Wow.
Because of her size and how fundamental she is, if most teams try to dead front her with the full body in front and somebody behind, and you have some people that try to dig it out with 2 to 3 players, the thing about her is if her perimeter counterparts aren't hitting, then you can beat an Iowa State. But if their perimeter is playing really, really good basketball and they're hitting their shots and they're attacking off the kick out, stuff like that, Iowa State is going to be a tough out, because those things work in tandem together. Now, if her perimeter's not playing well, then you can continue to send 4 people at her and you're going to get Iowa State stopped. They're not undefeated. But if they can collectively get together as a group, and for those of you that have not seen Audie Crooks play, man, this is a treat for the eyes for me, because she's so dominant. I mean, if she was, the best way to describe her is that if she was on the men's side, she would be Shaq reincarnated. Other than she can't play, on top of the rim. Obviously, she's not a dunker. She's not going to do that. But in terms of dominance, man, she is absolutely fantastic. Go ahead and check out Audie Crooks.
Wow, we'll do.
Absolutely, I will, yeah.
Gotcha. And one thing, while I got y'all on here, and you all know basketball, and especially basketball by, back home, every year during the NCAA tournament, we get to see Clark Kellogg, as an analyst up on the desk. And I was telling my wife the other day, I think he was the best thing that came out of Cleveland. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Was Clark, when looking back on it, could you say that he was the best thing that came out of the 216 during our era or around that time? Clark Kellogg.
Clark Kellogg was an absolute monster.
Stud.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Villa Angela
he
St.
was
Joe.
a dog.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was a dog.
Okay.
Clark Kellogg could score in many, many different ways, and he made it look extraordinarily easy. When I started getting into high school basketball, Clark Kellogg was the first person I looked at when it came to Ohio basketball. Okay. Right. And then, like I said, he had a stellar career as a Buckeye. And then he didn't have a bad career in the pros either.
He didn't.
No.
He didn't. He just got hurt.
He had some injuries.
Injuries took him out. Yeah, injuries.
Right.
Yeah.
But to listen to him, Clark Kellogg's knowledge of the game
I love listening to him.
Extraordinary. So no, Clark, no. When you start talking about those upper echelon guys out of Cleveland, you know what I mean? The first person better come out of your mouth is Clark Kellogg, if you know about Cleveland basketball.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. I'll throw another name out there, fellas, that a lot of people don't know. But when you walked into the junior high gym in Warrensville, you know, they had that wall of fame. As soon as you walk into the gym, they had in permanent marker on the wall, people that had created
was it
great
Tony
years.
Scott?
Oh, he's one. But I'll give you another name. O.J. McDuffie.
O.J. McDuffie, right? Okay.
McDuffie.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of some of these names that have come out of Cleveland, not to the caliber of Clark Kellogg. Clark Kellogg was a stud when it comes to basketball, man. But there are so many names out there like that people don't realize came out of the CLE, man.
Okay. Yeah, and right now, you know, people always, you know, when they talk about Ohio basketball, they talk about LeBron, and I ain't mad at that. You know, I watched LeBron when he was 15, 16 years old. So no, he was there, but you can't take away from the Clark Kellogg's. You know, you can't take away from those guys who and that might be a show we have to do.
Tony Scott.
The top hoopers. You know, in Ohio basketball,
even Brad too. Even Brad too.
Oh man, Brad was a stud. Brad went to the Badgers and then transferred to Ohio State. Great year. I'm gonna even throw out another name, fellas. Someone that went to school with you and I, High Rod, that had a really good Division I college career. Fred Ferguson.
Mo Green, baby.
Mo Green too. Fred Ferguson.
Oh, you said Fred.
Fred Ferguson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fred. Yeah. Big Fred. Yeah. Fred Ferguson. I thought you were about to talk about Maurice Green, baby. Because he's another one.
Fishbone is no joke.
Another one.
Fishbone is no joke.
Yeah,
man.
he's another one.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Don't get us started. We start talking Tony Stockman, you know, Chet the Jet Mason.
Oh, yeah.
Man, come on, man. We could talk all day. Amari Wesley was at Shaw High.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Yep.
Ohio basketball, baby, all day.
Yep. And then the best gym teacher in the world played for the Minnesota Vikings, our guy, Mr. Jamie Caleb.
Jamie Caleb, baby.
Jamie Caleb.
Yep,
Jamie Caleb. Shout out to Mr. Caleb. That's my guy.
Mr. Caleb.
Yes, sir. Much love.
And played
Mr.
for the
Caleb.
Cleveland Browns.
That's right.
And played for the Cleveland Browns. Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, he did. And if you shot with him one-on-one, baby, shoot around, he'd light you up.
Sure
Yes,
I
he
see
did.
him light people up. Yeah, shout out Jamie Caleb, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And speaking of those Cleveland Browns, you know, I tuned into one of the best Cleveland Browns podcasts around the other day, The Locker Room, and then I heard my guy Hot Rod. He was talking about free agency. He was talking about some of the moves that our guy Andrew Berry has made. And, you know, Cap, what caught my ears was he used the word, when it came to Andrew Berry, he used the word outstanding. He said that Andrew, see the smile on his face, because he knows that caught my ear. I had to call him out on the show. I was like, wait a second. Did you just say Andrew Berry has been outstanding? Now, keep in mind, Andrew Berry had an outstanding draft last year. I think people got to give him a lot of credit. And then now going into free agency for our guy Hot Rod, who wants all the smoke, he came out and said Andrew Berry was outstanding. So, Hot Rod, I think you need to explain yourself a little bit, man, on
there you go.
You know what Andrew Berry has been doing, some of the things that you feel like are outstanding that he's been doing. Floor is yours, Hot Rod. Floor is yours, man.
Yep. Justify it.
So justify it. All right, wait a minute, man. Y'all gotta give me a second here. Let me go ahead and let me put my coach's hat on for a second. Let me put that on for y'all so y'all know what's going on, okay? So the bottom line is this. Andrew Berry, the reason I said he did an outstanding job is because he's done what he said he was going to do. He said in many different press conferences that I need to address the offensive side of the ball. And the thing is, one of the Achilles heels was, of course, the offensive line. All right. You had Jack Conklin. You had Ethan Posich, you know, Joel Batonio. You know what I'm saying? Wyatt Teller, DeJuan Jones. He knew that was a problem. Okay, so Jack Conklin was not re-signed. He's gone.
Yep.
Wyatt Teller just signed with the Texans. He's gone. No, regardless of what happened, he's gone. All right. Postage possibly could come back, but he had an Achilles tendon injury. Okay. DeJuan Jones is still up in the air. All right. And Joe Bitonio is holding the Browns hostage. And I don't know why the Browns are still even addressing this. But look at what he's done in free agency. Okay. Eldon Jenkins, multi-year deal, offensive lineman. Zion Johnson, guard, signed to a 3-year deal.
Yep.
Titus Howard, trade from Houston.
Yep.
Okay. Jack Stoll is a tight end there to replace Njoku. Tevin Jenkins, they re-signed. All right. And then with
Quincy
Devin
Willis.
Bush with Devin Bush leaving out, they went and signed Quincy Williams, who was a first-round draft pick. Look at what he has done. He has basically rebuilt. Now, they could go out there offensively, and the offensive line is stink.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is I'm holding his foot to the fire because he said, I'm going to address the offense. And he knows one of the weaknesses was the offensive line. And what has he done in free agency? He's addressed that.
Yep.
So you got to give him his props. As much as we rip him and as much as I rip him, I got to give him his props. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to go out there and be, the next coming of Tom Brady's New England Patriots line. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is Andrew Berry has said, here is the weaknesses that are on this team, and I'm going to address them. And he has. He's addressed it. Now, we're going into the draft. What is he going to address in the draft? I believe now he'll get a left tackle. Okay. But I also believe in this draft, he's going to address wide receiver. So you're going to get multiple wide receivers. You're not going to get just one. I think he's going to fill that wide receiver room and let them battle it out. But in terms of what he has done, you've got to give him his props because he has been a man of his word. And if you think about it, he signed these offensive linemen to real minimum deals. So it's a high reward, low risk in what he's doing. Okay. And so I had to say that to me, he's done an outstanding job.
I agree.
He's done it because he's addressed the weaknesses, the potential weaknesses on the offensive side of the ball. He signed some free agents for not a lot of money, but you got to think a lot of these offensive linemen are first round talents.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The tackle that they signed from San Diego, he's a first round talent. He just didn't pan out in San Diego. And miss me with all this PFF stuff talking about his blocking ratio. It doesn't matter because I think what the Browns are saying is that we have the best offensive line coach in the game by the name of George Warhol. I think they really believe in what Coach Warhol
and players
could
speak
do.
real highly of him.
Oh, yeah.
I heard
so
that.
what I'm saying is Andrew Berry is he's in the store and he's purchasing, he's cooking, he's bringing everything to the table. So yes, I'm gonna stand on that 10 toes down. And if anybody got a problem with it, I want the smoke. Come bring it. Because tell me what he's done that he didn't say he was gonna do.
Now, let me ask you this, Hot Rod. I know you say you don't want to take offensive lineman with our first pick, okay, at number 6. But they've been talking about a guy the past couple of days, and I'm surprised you didn't mention him yesterday on your show from Georgia, this Monroe Freely kid. What do you think of him?
Freeland.
Yeah. They say if he's there, you got to get him. You got to get him.
I did a breakdown on a lot of offensive linemen on the past shows that I've done. And Monroe Freeland did not pop up. But what did Monroe Freeland do? He went to the combine and went berserk. That's how Monroe Freeland has gotten up to where he is right now. Would I draft him at number 6? Absolutely not. I'm not drafting. If I'm not getting a wide receiver, if I'm not getting Tyson or I'm not getting Tate, or I'm not getting any wide receiver of that ilk, I am not drafting an offensive lineman with the number 6 pick. And the reason I'm not doing that is because those offensive linemen, all of them, are they going to change the dynamic of the Browns line? And no, Monroe Freeland, if they draft him, he is not a day one starter. He's not. If you're going to get someone at number 6, they better be a day one starter. Okay? If you do Tyson,
a difference
right?
maker.
If you do Tyson at number 6, I could buy that. If you do Carnell Tate at number 6, I can buy that. Okay? But if you get even a lineman from Miami, I'm not at number 6. 24? Possibly. I could do 24.
Let me ask you this, Hot Rob, because I agree with your statement 100%. You're not going to draft an offensive lineman that high unless you don't have other holes to fill that is a priority for your football team. Like, I don't think you're saying never, ever, ever, ever. Like, if that was the missing piece for the Cleveland Browns, of course you draft him at 6, but there are other needs that the Cleveland Browns has where you're not going to reach and go for a offensive lineman at number 6 when you have to fill wide receiver, where you have to fill other positions on your team. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, but I've also said this, and I've said this before. There is no Anthony Munoz in this draft. Okay. There's no Willie Rofe in this draft. There's no Orlando Pace in this draft. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know that was when you saw them in college, that they was surefire. And you knew for a fact that as soon as you drafted them, they was your day one starter for the next 15 years. There's not a lineman like that in the draft. So that's why I'm not going number 6 with a lineman unless I know for a fact that this guy is a 15-year starter, surefire, first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I know people going to come on here, well, one of those guys could develop into that. Yeah, they can develop into that, me giving them the number 24 pick, not number 6. And I do it. You're right, El. If there's so many different holes, I would even entertain if you can't get Tyson or Tate. I would even entertain if you're not taking the best player available, which to me is Caleb Downs.
Yep.
If Caleb Downs falls to you, then you got to consider it. If Caleb Downs or Tate or Tyson doesn't come to you, I would even entertain trading down. I would. Now, I heard some pundits come on and say, well, what if the Browns trade up? The only reason you would trade up is if you're going to get a quarterback. Right. Otherwise, I'm going to stay exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But I can see the Browns trading down from number 6 because Andrew Berry is a stockpiling pick kind of guy. And he feels like if he gets more picks, that gives me more draft capital, not only for this year, but for next year. Okay. So, no, if that surefire 15-year starter is at number 6 and I can't get the receiver that I want, because I'm going to be honest with y'all, I'm starting to be kind of leery on Carnell Tate being wide receiver 1. I don't know why, but I'm starting to look differently at Carnell Tate just based off of, and it's not his 40. I'm not worried about the 40. It's based off the film that I watched him playing against Indiana.
Right.
That kind of worried me because they had Jeremiah Smith bracketed the entire game, and I didn't see Carnell Tate get off. And
now,
so
remember that Indiana defense was solid now, too, Hot Rod. Give him that credit. And
I get it. But now he's coming to the pros, Cap.
Yeah.
He's coming to the pros, Cap.
Yeah.
So,
and in addition, my thing is, can he have the personality, too, to, overstep, well, not overstep, but overpower a Jerry Jeudy, too? Now, I think he's better than Jeudy, or he has a lot more upside, but does he have the personality to come in there and be the number 1 over Jerry Jeudy? Because, again, Jerry Jeudy is not a number 1, so that guy that comes in has to have that personality to say, hey, I am the man, and can he do that up against a Jerry Jeudy?
Right. I need a wide receiver 1 that's going to walk in that locker room, and every wide receiver in that locker room knows that he is a dog. Okay? Carnell Tate's a really nice dude, and everything I've heard, he's a really, really nice guy. His story, people, people have heard his story. I've heard his story. He's a tremendous young man.
Yeah.
But for the Browns wide receiver room, you need a guy that's going to walk in there and is going to command and demand the respect walking in that room. Okay.
Right.
And so, everything that I've heard is Jordan Tyson. The only problem with Jordan Tyson is he's often injured. And we can't have a wide receiver one that's not going to be on the field. Okay.
Right.
So I can honestly say that do not be surprised if Andrew Berry trades down and gets a couple of wide receivers. Okay. So, I'm just, but Monroe Freeland, I've heard a lot about. He's humongous. Don't get me wrong, but he's a project. And right now at number 6, you don't draft a project.
Gotcha.
You don't, in the first round, you don't draft a project. You draft somebody who can walk in day one, like a Carson Swessinger. Okay? Somebody who can walk in day one and who can produce from day one. Right. And at the end of the day, Andrew Berry's got to stockpile the Browns with a bunch of dudes. Them dudes who gonna walk in the locker room and say, okay, because I already see right now, even with Todd Monken, there is a culture shift that's taking place right now in the Cleveland Browns locker room. There's a culture shift. Because if you listen to an interview that Quinshawn Junkins had,
I heard it.
He talked about Kevin Stefanski, and he's talking culture. So he's seeing that the culture is changing. Okay, they got rid of Jerome Ford. Yay! Jerome Ford signed with the Washington Commanders. He out your way. So that other team out there by you, y'all got him. Have fun. You know what I'm saying? But no, I would not draft a lineman at 6. I just wouldn't.
Yeah. And I told the Atlanta Falcons fans when they took a flyer on Kirk Cousins, I said, enjoy that, have fun with that. And the same way with Kevin Stefanski. Have fun with Kevin Stefanski, Atlanta Falcons fan.
He's all yours.
When you look at that number 6 pick, I'm not a Tate guy that high. I'm gonna be honest with you. At number 6, I was Hot Rod and I were chatting back and forth on his show, the locker room the other day, where he brought up the topic of that number 6 pick, and I was like, hey, would you go out and try to get a Marvin Harrison Jr. with that 6th pick instead of Tate? I just think, in my opinion, he's a better receiver than Tate. He's a more proven receiver. He's got some years under his belt in the league, played with a really, really good quarterback. I think he would be somebody that would be good for Shador. Is that a trade that you would make, Cap? Hot Rod, I know you spoke on it on your show, but I would love to see Marvin Harrison. I don't think the Cardinals would do it. But if the Cardinals were on board with that, that's a trade that I would definitely make.
I'll take him in a heartbeat. I'll take him in a heartbeat. I sure would. Yep.
Yeah, well, come on. I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. Because I think he's a dude. And I've been thinking Marvin Harrison has been a dude even when he was a Buckeye. He was Jeremiah Smith before Jeremiah Smith showed up. Okay? Marvin Harrison Jr. is a game changer. All right? He had like poor quarterback play. No disrespect to the new Vikings quarterback, but he did not have the greatest quarterback play. Do I think that the Cardinals will do that? No, because I think the Cardinals decided between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I believe the Arizona Cardinals said, we're going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, if they could pull Marvin Harrison, would I give up the number 6 pick for Marvin Harrison Jr.? In a heartbeat. I wouldn't even blink about it. Yeah, that's what you want? Done. Okay? Chris Olave.
He's proven.
I wouldn't give up the number 6 pick for Chris Olave, but Chris Olave would be a lower first-round pick that I would give New Orleans. You need, like I said, now the only thing about Olave is kind of like Tyson. He's often injured. But once again, with Marvin Harrison Jr., if you can get Jr. and bring him into the Browns room, now you got Marvin Harrison as your number 1. You can move Judy either at number 2 or throw him in the slot. You still got Isaiah Bond. So now he brings legitimacy to the wide receiver room. And that's the thing. There's no legitimate threats in the Browns wide receiver room. There's not anyone that when you're game planning, you're saying, okay, we got to look out for this guy. No, there's nobody on there. And so if you bring a Marvin Harrison Jr. or you bring a Jordan Tyson or you bring a Carnell Tate, you bring guys of that ilk. Now
you got a plan
you
for
got
them.
a game plan.
Yeah. Sure do.
You got a game plan. And then that wide receiver 1 is going to make your 2 and 3 better. And then you forgot about Harold Fannin Jr. That dude's, I'm telling
He's legit.
you, Harold Fannin
He's
Jr.
legit.
is going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem in this league.
And I heard he's been working out ever since the season ended. They say he's been on the field, he's been in the weight room, he's been 100% locked in to the off season and getting ready for the next season. And that's the kind of guy we need. That's the kind of guy I love that. Working around the clock 24/7.
Yeah. I had the both of you guys on my show, Unconventional Playbook, within the last couple of weeks, and, various topics, but the one topic was about, the whole J.J. McCarthy thing. And then, this past week when we were on vacation, there have been rumblings, at least there's been some rumblings here. I've seen it in various Cleveland publications. I've seen it in national publications that, maybe the Cleveland Browns would take a flyer on J.J. McCarthy because the Minnesota Vikings are out on J.J. McCarthy. Man, there are so many different. I could speak about 3 hours on the Minnesota Vikings and this whole J.J. McCarthy mess up here in Minnesota. But the question remains, and I know where it's coming from. It's coming from the local media there in Cleveland. But why is everybody so hesitant to give Shedeur a chance, and they're already trying to replace him? Like, I can see the Deshaun Watson thing because he's there. He's a former All-Star. He's a former league MVP in the conversation, whatever way you want to put it. He's got the big guaranteed contract. So honestly, even though I don't agree with it, I can kind of see where the whole Deshaun Watson thing is coming from. But now you're reaching outside of the family, and now you're talking about really a discredited rookie in J.J. McCarthy and somebody that the Cleveland Browns should possibly trade for to come in and battle Shedeur for this number 1 spot. Give me your thoughts on that, man.
L Train, I don't know where that's coming from. And I've been listening to Cleveland Sports Talk for the past 25, 30 years, okay? Because I haven't lived in Cleveland, but I'm a diehard Cleveland fan, and I'm always listening to them. But to answer your question, I don't know where that's coming from. I really don't. Sometimes you have to remember at the end of the day, it's entertainment and confusion and, all that kind of stuff. People arguing back and forth about this and that. The Browns need to address the offensive line and wide receiver and give Shedeur an off season to give him an opportunity to be the starter and have Watson, who's also in the room, put pressure on him, okay? To bring on, again, what we call in my field of counseling, that stress that may make, Shedeur better and, come out and do what he needs to do. But to answer your question, all that talk about adding J.J. McCarthy and others, I don't know where that's coming from. And again, like I say, I just think sometimes the Cleveland media just has to hear themselves talk just to go back and forth and make noise. I don't know what that's all about. And I see Rod over there. So Rod, what's your boys back home doing, man? Those are some of Rod's buddies. He's got them on speed dial. He talks to them guys. He knows.
How Rod's temperature going up? How Rod's temperature going up right now, man?
I'm sorry, I was taking my temperature because the Cleveland media makes me sick. Okay, here's the bottom line, man. These guys are trying everything in their power to try to remove Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why they're trying to remove Shedeur Sanders. But before I do that, as I always say, I am not a Shedeurian. I just want to see this young man get the best opportunity possible. I'm going to always say that. But here's the problem with the Cleveland media. You want to know why the Cleveland media want to get rid of Shedeur Sanders so bad? It's because there's a possibility that young man's going to be good. He's a winner. He's a winner. And the thing is that they don't like the way that he wins. Did you hear what I'm saying?
Yep.
They don't like the way that he wins. Okay? He wins because he's confident. They don't like, it's kind of like when Ali was boxing. They didn't like that brash African-American young man telling folks that he was going to knock them out in the fifth round and then turn around and did it when he told Sonny Liston what round he was going to knock him out in, and he did it. This is Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is not about bravado, but he's very confident in himself.
Yep.
He knows that if he's under the right tutelage, okay? Remember, his father was an all-timer, and his father was his coach. He's won at every single level. And so the Browns media, it's not the fans. The fans are around Shedeur. They want 12. It's the media. The media, for some reason, want to run this kid out of town, but they don't want Deshaun Watson either.
They don't want him.
They're looking for everybody. They want it. So now J.J. McCarthy is the new flavor of the week because they believe that J.J. is
be somebody else.
Right. No disrespect to J.J. McCarthy. I have nothing but the utmost respect for the young man. We said a pre-show. I think he's getting a raw deal, but I understand why Minnesota did what they did. But having said that, no, that doesn't. No, I get so sick of Cleveland media. I really do. It is ridiculousness, the fact that they have trying to pull everybody out their tail. I said on the locker room, what they going to do? They're going to, so Jim Kelly, he's free. You can go get Jim Kelly. Yep. I think Dan Marino's still throwing down in Miami. Heck, Tom Brady was just throwing at a flag football game just the other day. He was throwing dots. Why don't you ask Tom Brady to come back? The Cleveland media is not satisfied with anything, and that's why we can't have superstars in the city of Cleveland. Is because those clowns that write and that report for the Cleveland sports media tries to run these people out. Okay? That LeBron was smart enough. He knows I got to get out of here. Okay. But we cannot have any. I mean, the only superstar that we have right now that the Cleveland media has not gone after is Jose Ramirez.
Right.
And you want to know why they haven't gone after Jose Ramirez? It's because Jose Ramirez takes discounts. He's been taking discounts. This man has left millions of dollars on the table.
Just to stay in Cleveland. So, he said, I love Cleveland. Just to stay in Cleveland. Loves Cleveland.
Just to stay in Cleveland. Okay. He's a Hall of Famer. And he's in Cleveland, okay? But Shedeur Sanders, they're afraid. They're afraid of the fact that he is about to be successful and this team is about to be turned around. And that's why you got the Shedeur haters. They hate him, but they don't know why they hate him. They have no idea why they hate him. They try to explain it, but they can't explain it. You know, so football is football. So let this guy go out here. And here's my thing. If he tinkles it down his leg, whose fault is that? It's his.
Yeah.
If he becomes successful, who is that? It's him. And that's why Todd Monken he hasn't said that Shedeur is his guy. Everybody's got to earn it, but Shedeur is his guy.
Yep. And the whole JJ McCarthy thing up here, man, I go back and forth with my guys on Unconventional Playbook, and it's really amazing to me that no matter how you explain things to certain people, that they just don't get it. You know, they create these narratives that they want to create to try to win their side of the argument or debate, whatever you want to call it. Let me be clear. The whole Kyler Murray signing, I am not against the whole Kyler Murray signing because I do believe that there is an element that Kevin O'Connell wants his job and he needs to win next year, and also that maybe J.J. McCarthy is not ready for him to attach his hip to him. So he's got to go out and get a veteran stopgap. The problem with a guy like Kyler Murray is that it's going to look so much better than last year that at the end of next season, you are going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to make a choice and get into bed with the quarterback that can't get you there, who's going to look great and look dynamic and make some of the throws, but overall, he's not going to be able to get you there as a franchise. And you have to make a decision on the guy that you drafted really high in J.J. McCarthy, the highest drafted quarterback in the Minnesota Vikings franchise. You are about to throw him away after 10 games. I think that's irresponsible. I think it's egregious. I think it's stupid. And this is the direction that the Minnesota Vikings are going in with the whole Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy. And it's surprising me that people with common sense can't even see that approaching. And when the Minnesota Vikings have to face that, it's going to be worse than the whole Sam Darnold deal, fellas. It's going to be worse than the whole Sam Darnold deal.
And a part of that, again, L-Train, I think your organization, is just running out of patience. They lack patience. They saw Sam Darnold, hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy, and they kind of panicked. Now, granted, and Kyler Murray is better than him. He is, and he's going to, have a pretty good season. I really, really think he is. He's going to look better than JJ, but is it worth, getting rid of JJ and moving on from him? Because you're right. JJ is going to land with the right organization and he's going to turn things around and he's going to be good. I always gave him credit because he played in the Big Ten. The Big Ten has the best athletes outside of the SEC. So I have faith in JJ McCarthy. But again, like I say, I just think your organization, lacked patience. They saw Sam Darnold, win the Super Bowl, and that's where they are. So, Kyler's going to come in. He's going to do well. He's going to, take that team to, another level. But again, like I say, unless you all win the Super Bowl, it's going to be all a failure. Because again, it isn't worth getting rid of JJ McCarthy, for that reason. So y'all got to win the Super Bowl. And y'all in a tough division because Green Bay is going to bring it, and so is Chicago. They're going to bring it.
Okay. My man Mike in Canada. I'm opening up the mailbag here, and my man Mike in Canada says, "Hey fellas, I watch the show when I can. I love it. No spin doctoring this question. I think he means by that, don't make excuses when it comes to this question. He doesn't. He just wants a straight answer. So he says, no spin doctoring. Can the Cleveland Browns, from what we know right now, compete in the AFC?" And he didn't say AFC North. He said AFC period. Can the Cleveland Browns compete with what we know right now?
Right now, the way things look on paper and going forward, I would say yes. That's just looking on paper, though. Looking on paper for what Andrew Berry has done so far, in free agency and what we forecast him to do in the draft. On paper, I'll say yes, right now.
So with this defense, absolutely. If this defense is going to stay intact and he's added to the defense, like I said, with Williams from the Jets, absolutely. So I think they can compete. Yeah, I mean, let's call it what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 or 3 games that Kevin Stefanski lost last season.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's not. While you saying spin doctoring, nobody's spin doctoring. Okay.
Right.
I like that term. You tried to get away with that, but I got time today. Okay. There's 3 games that Kevin Stefanski lost. Just Kevin Stefanski himself. All right. So if you look at it, they won 4 games last year. If the Browns, if Kevin doesn't mess up those last 3 games, they've won 7 games. Okay. And then even in the games that they've lost, there was only a couple that they got blowed out in. Okay. So they competed last year. So they'll compete again. I do believe they can compete in the AFC.
Mary from St. Louis is saying she's a big-time Cleveland Browns fan. She said, this has been a very quiet offseason full of solid moves, and it all started with Todd Monken. Is he the answer or just another reset?
For right now, he's the answer, and I don't think it's been quiet. I think it's been, the volume's been turned up a little bit there, Mary. So
well, I think she means quiet in terms of no garbage out there with the Cleveland.
No garbage.
Browns.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I agree with her 100%. Yeah. For right now, Todd Monken is the guy. He is the guy, and I respect where he came from. He came from a very solid organization. Now, he and Lamar Jackson didn't see eye to eye this last season.
Yep.
Okay, that happens. Things like that happen. But for right now, Todd Monken is the man. He's our man.
Todd Monken is the guy for now. And of course, people can talk about there were other coaches that the Browns wanted to hire and they couldn't get to him and all that. He's here. And I think the biggest key was he wants to work with Shedeur. Okay. I think a lot of the other coaches were not willing to work with Shedeur, and I think he gave the pack. And you got to think with Todd Monken, I mean, he's a winner. You know what I mean? You got to think he has a national championship with the University of Georgia. He's a winner. All right. And so he's brought in some legitimate coaches. Okay. And so I do believe, and I understand when she means quiet, that means it ain't been other than Miles, going 165 miles an hour, again, other than that, there's been nothing. And that's what I'm trying to get to is that it has been quiet. We haven't heard the drama. And that's why the Cleveland media has been trying to get a lot of clickbait because there's really nothing there.
Nothing to talk about.
And so they're making stuff up. There's nothing to talk about. So they're making stuff up. Good question.
Michael from Seabreeze, Florida, I believe it is. Okay, I knew somebody from Seabreeze. Fellas, love the show. I think you guys have great takes. I rarely ever disagree with your takes that you make, but here's one thing where I feel like you fellas are wrong. The Cleveland Browns will regret moving on from Kevin Stefanski. Fellas, what do you got to say about that?
I don't agree.
Well, we regret
I don't
it.
agree. Yeah. I don't think so. Atlanta, y'all can have him. He's down here near you. Yeah. Travel up Interstate 75 or yes, 75 and go to Atlanta and go see him yourself. No, I don't think we're gonna regret that. I don't think so. Especially now with who we have in house. No, Kevin. Yeah, it started off good and then it just went downhill. It didn't. It didn't progress. It didn't get better. It didn't improve. No, I don't think we'll miss out on this one. I don't think so. I have to disagree with you there, but appreciate your tuning in to us and continue to tune in with us.
That was out of pocket. You asking an out of pocket question. Are you serious? Oh, I appreciate you listening, but are you serious? Yeah. Kevin Stefanski hasn't won a single solitary thing. Okay, and I tried to leave Kevin Stefanski alone, and I know he went down there in Atlanta and he reunited the entire gang, Alex Van Pelt, everybody. But at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to Kevin Stefanski is not a very good communicator. He's not a very good coach. I just said, listen to Quinshon Junkins and how he described his relationship with Kevin Stefanski. Listen to Myles Garrett and some of the things that he said. There's a difference between a guy coming in, and when he came out of Minnesota, he was called this offensive guru, but he needed Kirk Cousins. So when he did not have Kirk Cousins, he started making excuses. Well, here's the thing. The excuses ran out. And now he's down in Atlanta. And now what excuses is he going to make now? I don't think we'll regret it because the Atlanta Falcons are a dumpster fire. So I know they got to rebuild as well. So nope, you get one more. That was out of pocket. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for asking the question. But come on now, you know better than that. That was a bait. That you tried to bait us. That's what you did, and you got me. But I'll take it. But no, Kevin Stefanski's not gonna come back. And here's the thing: we play the Atlanta Falcons this year. We played them this year, so you'll see. We'll see.
Wait.
I will say this about Kevin Stefanski. Everyone knows where I sit with Kevin. I think Kevin Stefanski is not a good football coach. However, I will say this. I'm not in the football industry. I don't have a microscope on Kevin Stefanski. Everybody keeps bringing this up. He was 2 times coach of the year, fellas. As soon as he got fired from the Browns, usually it takes a year or 2 for people to get another job. He got snapped up right away. So there is an affinity across the league for Kevin Stefanski. Why? I don't know. But we will see. He gets a fresh start in Atlanta. And listen, if he does well in Atlanta, maybe I may not even show up for the show. I may go missing. And speaking of guys,
may have to put out an APB on you.
Put out an APB on me. So especially for guys that are gone missing, we got some APBs that the Cap has put out on the sports world. Cap, give me some of your APBs. I'm going to have to
put on my reading glasses for this one. Yeah, I got to put on my reading glasses for this one. Okay. APBs. And not only are we going to need the police paddy wagon, we're going to need the van, okay? Because I got a lot of people that we're looking for that we're going to have to put in APBs. We just came off the World Baseball Classic, okay, where all the countries compete, and we need to put out an APB on that Dominican Republic team. Where y'all at? Y'all were averaging 9 runs a game, okay? And then you went up against the U.S. and Skeens, that great pitcher out of Pittsburgh, and lost 2-1. Usually in games prior to that, they'd hit a home run. They put on that jacket, that hat, flipping the bats, running around, talking trash. Where you at, Dominican Republic? Where you at? Get an APB out on them. Next, Aaron Judge, step up to the plate. Where you at, Aaron Judge? You went missing during the World Baseball Classic.
Woo!
Altogether, your stats, you were 2 for 11, 5 strikeouts, and 0 RBIs. And then in that last game, you went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in that game against Venezuela. Now, Aaron Judge, you have a knack of showing up during the regular season, but then you go missing in the postseason, just as you did in the WBC. So where you at, Aaron Judge? Where you at, Aaron Judge? Next up on the list, Hubert Davis. We're looking for Hubert Davis, coach of the Carolina Tar Heels, okay? Back-to-back first-round exits. Hubert Davis, back-to-back first-round exits. And then prior to that, the 2 first years, you were ranked number 1 in the preseason, okay? Coming out and got bounced in the tournament. So, Hubert Davis, you're good during the regular season, but when it comes time to make it happen, where you at, Hubert Davis? You come up missing. So, we're looking for him. Put out an APP on him, Hubert Davis. And last but not least, now they won last night. But hey, the Houston Rockets, where are they? Where are they? Okay, they put together that team with Durant and everybody. They messed up during the trade deadline by not addressing their need at point guard. Okay, the other night they lost by 40 to the Nuggets. Lost by 40 to the Nuggets, and in that game, Durant had 7 turnovers. Okay, he had 7 turnovers. Then they lost back-to-back games to the Lakers, and in the second game against the Lakers, Luka just put on a show. Okay, put on a show. They showed one timeout. They showed the sideline. That team was on the sideline looking dejected. The coach even had his head in his hands, okay? Now, they pulled it out last night. But the Houston Rockets, where you been? Put out an APB on them, too. They're messing up. So, again, got a little bit of baseball, Hubert Davis, Aaron Judge, and then the Houston Rockets. All of them APBs. And if you see them, don't approach them because they're dangerous. They're probably mad. Yeah, don't approach them. So that's my list of APBs for this week, fellas. That's it.
APB. Yeah. Listen, as the captain said, be aware. Don't approach. If you see them, call 1-800-THE-CAP.
The captain.
1-800-THE-CAP. All right, now we got great one, Cap. Good job. APB's out. Now we got our start one, bench one, cut one, erase one, and I believe it is Hot Rod's turn to go. Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. What do you got, Hot Rod?
All right, gentlemen, we are going to start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. Hall of Fame Major League Baseball catchers.
Woo! Oh, wow. This is right up Cap's alley. This is up Cap's alley, man.
And baseball starts this week. Opening day this week.
Hall of Fame baseball catchers.
Wow.
Starting at number 1, Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench.
Okay.
Cincinnati Red.
At number 2, Gary Carter.
Gary Carter. Wow.
At number 3, Ivan Rodriguez. Pudge. At number 4, Mike Piazza.
Oh, Mike Piazza. Wow, the pizza man. New York Mets.
So Johnny Bench, Gary Carter, Ivan Rodriguez, and Mike Piazza.
Wow. Okay, give me a second. That's a good one.
Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. All right, I think I'm ready to go.
Okay, I'll go first.
Go ahead, T. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Elcher. Okay, I'll go. I'll go. Okay. Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. I'm going to have to start with the great Johnny Bench, okay, with that Cincinnati Red machine, that big red machine. I'm going to start Johnny Bench. I'm going to bench Gary Carter, okay? I still remember the game-winning home run he hit when he was with Toronto, I believe. So I'm going to bench Gary Carter. I'm going to cut Mike Piazza because he was that catcher that had a bat. Man, he could hit. He was a clutch hitter. He could hit for power. He could hit, station to station. I'm going to have to, cut him. I'll put him third. And I hate to say it, I'll erase Pudge just on the mere fact is that although I don't know if he was ever caught, I think Pudge was on the juice, okay, and he had a heck of an arm behind that plate. He'd throw you out. I've seen him throw many players out, at second base trying to steal second. So I'm gonna start Johnny Bench. I'm going to bench Gary Carter. I'm going to cut Mike Piazza. He had a heck of a bat. And I'm going to erase Pudge just on the mere fact I think Pudge was on the juice. So that's my start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. That was a good one.
That was a good one. I am going to go. I'm going to agree with the cap. I'm going to go. I'm going to start Johnny Bench.
Bench.
I'm going to start Johnny Bench. I am going to bench Mike Piazza. Pepperoni Piazza.
Piazza.
Yep. I am going to cut Gary Carter. I'm cutting Gary Carter. And I am erasing Rodriguez.
Pudge Rodriguez.
Yep.
Wow.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
All right, gentlemen, we can agree on one thing. We're going to start Johnny Bench.
Yep.
I have Johnny Bench. I'm going to bench Pudge Rodriguez.
Ooh!
I am going to cut Mike Piazza, and I'm going to erase Gary Carter.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So this is probably the first time in a long time where we disagreed in a myriad of different ways. We have been in sync the last couple of start one, bench one, cut ones.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good one.
Wow, that was a good one. One.
Very, very good one. All right, fellas, time for our parting shots.
I'll go ahead and go first. I'm glad the WNBA is finally going to get their money, okay? I heard, who was it? Who said it the other day? Said they basically fought for their value. They said, we are more valuable than what you all are saying. I think salaries, salaries are going to go up. Max salaries is, the Supermax is $1.4 million. Their average deal is $600,000, minimum deal $300,000, and they get a 20% take on all revenue sharing. So good for the WNBA, okay? So now some of these women don't have to go play overseas, during the off season and subject themselves to some dangers, that could be associated with being a young girl all the way overseas in a foreign land. So I'm glad the WNBA, again, is going to get their worth, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming season. I believe it begins in May, and then in a couple years we'll have our team again in Cleveland. I don't know what they're going to name them, but I remember that old Cleveland Rockers team, and they were pretty good.
Yeah.
They were pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, good for the WNBA on reaching agreement and fighting for their worth. Miss Ogumake, I can't pronounce her name, that was on ESPN. Yeah, she was talking about it because she had been following it from start to finish. So good for the WNBA players.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because Chiney Ogumake.
Chiney Ogumake, yep.
Her sister actually was a part of the negotiating team.
Okay.
So her sister really, was one of the catalysts in negotiating that deal. So that's a monumental deal,
Gotcha.
And then, shout out to the WNBA for finally opening up their pocketbooks.
Gotcha.
My parting shot is I got a text in our group message. And so I had to, do some digging on this one. And so my parting shot is Kenyon Martin.
Oh.
So Kenyon Martin, there's on Gilbert Arenas podcast, there's a guy who befriended Kenyon Martin. Now, Kenyon Martin, when he first came out of the University of Cincinnati, he had a severe stutter. He really did. And he worked extremely hard to now where he's podcasting and you can barely hear any type of speech impediment. He's done a great job. Ron Harper was the same.
Yep.
When Ron Harper came out of Miami University, Ron Harper had a severe stutter. Well, this young man who is working for the Gilbert Arenas podcast, he came out with a video some years back before he met Kenyon Martin, making fun of Kenyon Martin's stutter. Well, what Kenyon Martin decided to do was he basically called this young man out in public on the show. And he's gotten some backlash for it. Some people have supported him. My take is this. He who was without sin cast the first stone. Everybody makes mistakes. And the lack of forgiveness that you have shows more about you, Kenyon Martin, than anyone else. Now, this young man made this video. Was he wrong? He was absolutely wrong. But the question that I would ask Kenyon Martin is, if he would have came out and said, I did this video when he first met you, would anything be different?
Right.
Okay. And to me, I'm like, correct in private. And to make him a public spectacle. Now, was he wrong? Absolutely. He was wrong. You do not make fun of people's handicaps. You do not make fun of people's impairments. However, he did not know you. He made a mistake.
Yep.
He tried to apologize. And Kenyon Martin said, I don't want your apology. That is more of an indictment on you than that young man. So my parting shot is, understand this. If you have not made a mistake in your life, he who was in a glass house don't throw rocks. If you have not made a mistake in your life, Kmart, which you have admitted even on that podcast that you have, and you want people to honor that and say, okay, you made mistakes, then forgive this young man for being ignorant, okay? Because sometimes ignorant is bliss. So you have to forgive, because if you don't, that doesn't bother that young man. That young man will be able to get another job anywhere else he wants to. That's you. And I understand. He said, I fed you. You've been in my house. Okay. Everybody has had someone say something bad about them at one given time. But if I didn't forgive the people who talk trash on me, I wouldn't be on 3 the hard way right now. I'd be so worried about what other people going to say. That's why I said I don't have a problem with the smoke. Bring it.
Right.
So my parting shot is Kenyon Martin. It shows more of an indictment on you, sir, than on him.
Great take, Hot Rod.
Hey, great parting shots, fellas.
Great take.
Great parting shot. One of my favorite memories growing up was Friday nights. My family didn't eat out a lot. Fridays was our eat out day. My mom cooked everything every day of the week, but our eat out day was Friday. And one of the things that I used to enjoy doing as a kid was ordering my Augie's pizza and watching my watching my shows. And one of my late shows that I used to watch was Showtime at the Apollo, fellas. And we lost a great one over this past week. Kiki Shepard, man. She was an American TV personality and model, best known for being a longtime co-host of Showtime at the Apollo, just passed away. I mean, she was the face of the Apollo stage. She introduced a lot of acts before they were actually worldwide known acts. She was introducing those acts, man. And to see a cultural icon like Kiki Shepard pass away, just a flood of memories just came back. Me being a little kid tuning into that show, especially Amateur Night, man, that was always fun. along with seeing all the Sandman, man.
Yeah,
the Sandman will get you off of there. He would get you off of there. But Kiki Shepard gone way too soon, man. Just a tragic loss for our community for sure. Fellas, great part shots. Another great week, fellas. I appreciate you. Anything left you want to say to 3 the Hard Way Nation out there?
All right. Tell a friend about us and like and subscribe. Tell a friend about us, and even Hot Rod
like,
Show.
Subscribe,
Hot Rod Show on Saturday.
Like, subscribe, comment, you know what I'm saying? Share. If it's something you don't like, go ahead and share it. We don't really care, but you can go ahead and share it anyway. No,
put it in the comments. Like and subscribe. Put in the comments, man. We'll be right there with you. We're not afraid. We're not afraid to engage with you. So from the captain, from Hot Rod, this is L Train. Thanks for tuning in to 3 the Hard Way, man. We appreciate you. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate
Everybody have a blessed week. Have a blessed week.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.